Okay,
I
yeah.
know my show tunes too well. I was
because
kind of
you were
a theater geek.
you were in a homeschool.
Gosh, wow! I'm really painting myself as like this nerd.
No.
But
we both did. I didn't do it as long as you did.
Yeah.
But we both did a little homeschool
you did 1 year,
club.
So
okay, fine.
I did 5.
Okay. Well, you, Grace, the almighty Grace, you did so many years of this theater club.
I'm just kidding.
And now you have the editor. You're editor-in-chief of this new club in
Which is
school.
interesting, because it's like, this is like the replacement, right?
Right.
So, like, I needed something. I was like, wait, I don't want to say you're twiddling on my thumbs. I need to be a part of something.
Right. Now, I have a question.
Yeah. It just so happened that I wanted to be a part of something that didn't exist. So I
Right. We were driving... We both work at the same place.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
COVID-19 has us kind of in a different situation, but...
Right. But basically, we're driving home from work one day,
Mm-hmm.
and Grace mentions to me...
Oh, boy, I don't know what this is going to be. I always get so scared when you do this.
Grace mentions to me that she started her club. And she was like, and it's interesting, Caleb, because all the people that joined the club are, around...
They're great writers.
Yeah, but they all have this same passion for the work that they do. Just like in the theater clubs, you see a lot of the people. So it's kind of like, loose stereotypes that actually show themselves in the real world.
Yeah, quite honestly. But it is. I think a lot of times stereotypes have to do with, like, looks and stuff. But I don't
think it's much.
Really?
I think that, yes, there's a lot of stereotypes are about looks.
Personality traits.
I think personality traits show more.
Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned that.
I did mention that. A lot of them are very similar personalities.
Yeah. And it's creepy.
It shocked me.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, just like...
Because every group you've ever been a part of has, like,
multiple,
Joe Schmo and...
just like a number of people. But I guess I do notice the theater people. Like, there's such a... It is a true thing. Theater people. I'm doing air quotes. Like honestly, it is a thing. And now that I have this newspaper...
That's why I couldn't stand another day there. I did 1 year when I was 13.
And that's okay, because you have other things going on.
Right.
And it's okay to
Which
have
reminds me of our cousin.
It's okay to have different things that you fit better for. It's actually... It's good. It's a good thing.
Which reminds me of our cousin.
Yeah.
And she had a kind of a... I think a lot of people go through this phase of their life where they have to figure out what they want to do.
Absolutely. Everybody doesn't.
Yeah,
don't they?
obviously. But she had... I remember when she was going through that, and she had a lot of different things going on. And then the thing that inspired me the most was when she... was curious about something, she tried it.
Yes,
and when she didn't like it, she moved on. And when she tried the next thing, she tried and tried and tried and tried all these things. And I was like, that's such a great way to spend your time if you're looking for something passionate about to lead about. So even if you're not like, you think, club, waste of time, blah, blah, blah. Try something. Look at the list.
Something.
Look at the list. There's a massive list of clubs. I mean, I know at Michigan Tech.
Right.
There's a massive list. Just look at them, look through them, be like, oh, fishing. I like fishing. You might be able to go on cool events with these people.
Oh, for sure.
And
you might like it way more than you think you do. And then
exactly.
another thing is...
And if you don't like it, quit.
Another thing is, even though we talked about, like, the personality traits in the groups...
Right.
Don't let that deter you.
No.
Even if you're like, oh, I don't want to be a theater kid. Like, no. Because you don't have to be. You know? Like, I don't really have the temperament of I don't know.
A writer?
Is there even a... I know what I'm saying. Is there even a temperament of a writer?
No.
I don't feel like I really have that. I'm very, like... If there was one, think about it. Just think about it. You have something
to wrap
in
my
your
head
head.
around this.
You have something in your head of the temperament of a writer.
You ready?
Yeah.
I think you do.
You think I do, yeah.
I think you're a great writer, and that correlates to your personality trait that makes you a good writer, which then in turn turns you to writing, which is not a bad thing.
Well, another thing is, like, don't let... Right,
but it's not
very true. It's very true.
It's also not the only thing you have going for you.
Right.
Okay, it reminds me of High School Musical. Do you remember that that song?
Okay, yeah. High School Musical.
That song.
So anyway, Troy Bolton, what? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Stick to the stuff you know.
If you want to be cool, there's one simple rule.
Don't mess with the
flow.
Yo.
But so in
Stick
this
to the status quo.
Right.
Whoa.
When I talk about stereotypes and personalities of people in different
Yes.
clubs. I'm not talking about that kind of stereotype.
Right, okay, yeah.
Right? It's not like, you want to be a writer? You must be, like, really stupid like my sister. No.
Whoa, that's extreme. But I know what you mean. Okay. Okay, thank you for clarifying, for sure.
You're welcome.
But there are definitely things about yourself. If you are a good writer, like, join a club that has to do with writing. Just do it. Do it.
And if you don't like it.
If you don't like it, just quit. And if you have a passion for something, join a club. I promise you. And if there's not...
brother.
Okay, if you have something in your mind where you're like, I really wish I could join a club that does this. Guess what? Create that club.
Yep. And like I said before, if it fails, that's just
try
a
again.
step to the learning process.
Okay.
I preach this so much because I know it's so true.
Mm-hmm. And it definitely applies to school.
Failure breeds success.
Yeah. In school,
just
too. Like,
look at failure breeds success. You see it all the time. What, it wasn't Andrew Jackson.
oh, boy.
Oh my gosh. I am blanking. Thomas Edison.
Yes.
Light
the
bulb guy?
Light bulb. Except technically, wasn't it,
Fine.
Okay.
Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
Whatever. Those people, just no facts here, probably tried 1 billion times before they got the right formula. Or, like, people that work hard and become rich, like, they weren't just, like, one day. Most of them. I know some. No, I really don't think.
Well, from what we know about our own work,
well,
you have to try
I would say just people that just people that I not look up to, but look at in that light.
Look
like,
down on.
No, like they have all that stuff and they have all that money and they have all that, even the celebrities and the fame and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a lot of them, they tell all the same stories about how they failed and failed and failed and failed.
Yep.
And then they succeeded and boom.
Yep. It's
So
like,
I
can
think
you even get to this success without the failure?
No, I don't think so. I think learning, like there's the whole, I remember a fun story from my dad. And he was talking about, it's the whole idea of there's a hot stove, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know this one.
You can tell, let's use a parenting example. So you tell the kid, right, don't touch the hot stove. The kid will never know if the stove is really hot unless they touch it.
True.
So they either A, touch it, fail, and learn, right?
And learn.
Or they heed your advice and never touch it.
And succeed.
But they also never know.
I don't know.
They never learn if it's hot or not.
Yeah, but not touching the hot stove is what you want to do.
Right, but I'm trying to say that failure of touching the stove breeds a new level of success.
A new level of knowledge, for sure.
Yeah.
But and that's a great example, because if they heed the word of the parent, that's a better way to learn, because you don't have the block of having to go through it.
Right.
It's like learning the hard way, right?
Right, learning the hard way. But I think that's kind of misconstrued, because a lot of the times, I think you're required to fail in order to learn a lesson.
I think some of the best ways to learn is to learn from other people and not have to go through it yourself.
I agree with that in a sense, but I do think there's a level to it.
I think that's also a personality trait. Some people really do need to learn the hard way.
To learn the hard way, but and again, I don't like that term "learning the hard way" because I feel like it's just a way of learning is through failure.
Right.
I think that's
failure is hard.
the reason I bring up the point about the kid in the stove is that there are two ways to do it, right?
Yeah, but I feel like you're putting a negative connotation on not touching the stove.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Don't worry which one you are. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
I'm trying to say both ways you learn the lesson.
Right. In both scenarios. You still learn it. Yeah.
Exactly. So don't be discouraged by failure because right around the corner is success.
Right.
Even if that corner is miles away.
And then maybe next time you trust the parent when they say something about the next thing.
Right. So, and
maybe
that was just an example.
It works out great. I just wanted to make sure you weren't putting negative connotation on taking the advice and not touching the stuff. No. Definitely don't get discouraged by failure. Personally,
I'm a very adamant failure breeds success person. So there might have been why you got that there.
That's an interesting, that's interesting to see the difference of opinion in just the way that we interpreted.
Yeah.
That.
Exactly.
Yeah, like difference of how we go about things, just the way that we interpreted that scenario.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well...
right. And I was like, well, the people that touch the stove have knowledge.
And I'm like, well, why would you even touch that?
Existential knowledge. No, but
oh, man.
It's funny because I've seen that happen all the time in, like, these scenarios of leadership training.
Yeah.
Like, people learning how to lead.
Now, you're involved in...
the ROTC?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they teach a lot of that kind of stuff. And it's really interesting. But I won't touch much on that. It's kind of boring to the person that's not interested in it. So
Right. Very true.
I'll spare you that much. In ROTC,
I felt like that. I kind of felt like that when I was talking about my newspaper, but it's all good.
Yeah, but I think overall...
I mean, school can be challenging. Find some clubs, like, I don't know. Like wrapping
Step
it up.
up, lead. Step up, lead.
Hard work. Work hard.
Work hard, yeah.
Work smart, which is hard work. It's what we've
Work, which is also hard work. Just work. It's
smartly.
all hard. No.
It doesn't all have to be.
But, yeah, that's pretty much all I have today.
That's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we actually will be having a guest.
Yes, we will.
And this guest is a very special guest because he has been to many different school systems. He's been homeschooled. Mm-hmm. He then went to an elementary school. He then went back to homeschooling because he hated it so much.
Yeah.
He then went back to, he moved. So he
went...
private.
Basically, he's been homeschooled, private school, public school.
I don't think it was private school.
He did. Yeah, he did. Uniforms and everything, didn't he?
Oh, I thought that was just the way they did it.
Nope.
Okay, he went to private school, and then he went back to homeschool, and then back to public school, and back to homeschool.
You know that public schools cannot enforce a uniform, can they?
I'm not sure. We'll have to ask him. We'll have to ask him.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's really interesting. It's my cousin,
Yep.
Luke, and we'll have him on.
My cousin too.
Well, sorry, it's our cousin Luke. Also shares the great name.
All right, anyway, here we go.
All right, here we have Luke, our cousin from down there in Texas. How are you doing today, Luke?
Texas.
I'm pretty good. It's a little warm down here, but I'm just moving along.
Jealous?
Yeah.
Very jealous of
It was
that.
like 74 yesterday. I got a sunburn. And then today was 42.
I have experienced probably the worst sunburn of my entire life. I was just at the beach down in Corpus Christi a couple days ago, and that is hot.
Oh, poor you.
I can imagine.
Okay.
I would kill for a sunburn right now.
See, I was in the UP for a majority of, the past couple months, so when I step outside, it's like if there's any sort of sun, I will instantly get burnt.
I think the UP is probably the exact polar opposite of Corpus Christi. Like,
Probably.
bottom of Texas,
Yeah.
top of Michigan.
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about school on today's issue of the GlennCast. And
Today's issue.
we were letting the people know that you have had quite the experience with school.
Sure, I guess you could say experience.
A lot of different places, right?
Yeah. I would just say like all over the place.
So now that
from,
one
like,
school,
public school,
you have been to private school, correct?
Yeah, well, it's not private school. It's called a charter school.
Oh,
and the only difference is that the state still pays for it, so it's free to attend.
But it's privately ran.
Right, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the online school we did was charter school.
Yeah,
so
it
it's
was.
like
I never made that connection.
Yeah, government funded,
Yeah.
privately ran.
Oh,
Interesting.
there you go.
No, yeah. So we're kind of curious, what. First of all, your early years of school when you started off with the homeschool, then you went to public school, and you went back to homeschool. Kind of.
What grade did you go to public school?
Right. So if we want to start way back when I was a teeny tot, so kindergarten and first grade, I went to public school at Diamondale Elementary, represent, and then second through fifth grade, I was homeschooled. Then we moved down to Texas that year, so I went to public school for sixth grade. Seventh grade was back at home, and then eighth grade I was.
That's when you went to the charter school, right?
That's when I went to the charter school, right? And then there was actually a gap year, which sounds kind of funny for middle school, right?
Right.
But
I make sure to always give you a little crap about that.
Yeah. In between 8th grade and 9th grade. And I still did a lot of schooling,
right.
Like biology, whatever, geometry, stuff like that. So it was nice because I was kind of quote-unquote ahead when I went into 9th grade, which I went to real school, right? And so I was taking a lot of... Right. Sorry. Yeah, Reagan, which is a public school, and so I was doing a lot of